when you...
The tombstone epitaph at the Church of Annunciation of the Holy Virgin in KARAN. In 1997, an archaeological survey was conducted in close proximity to the town of Užice in western Serbia by the archaeologist MILOJE and LJILJANA MANDIĆ from the Museum of Užice. As a result of these activities, some full-scale archaeological excavations were executed in the churchyard of the medieval Church of Holy Annunciation of the Virgin Mary, or locally known as a White Church at the village of KARAN in the picturesque valley of Užice. The village of KARAN is a medieval place of Christian tradition with a preserved church and remnants of a medieval burial place. The church complex has been built in the Rashka architectural style in the place of the former Roman sanctuary, and according to the previous archaeological research by Mr. MANDIĆ, in this place already an older medieval necropolis has existed, dated between the 12th and 13th century. During the excavation in the period between 1997 and 1998, around 52 graves were uncovered, all in a chaotic state due to the medieval rearrangement of the previous Roman cemetery place where a church was rebuilt in the period between 1350. According to the mural decoration dated in the period between 1340 and 1342, the patron ktetour of the church was a Župan, nobleman and landowner, a contemporary of Serbian Tsar Dušan, who erected this church over the old ruins. Portraits of the ruler and nobility with their families, along with the clergy and saints, are represented on the interior walls. On the northern and western wall, a patron composition is presented in which the Župan, Peter Brian, his wife, his 3 daughters, and his son are. The location where the church was erected has a tradition of sakerloki, probably the existence of a poorly preserved ancient temple with a necropolis that was covered by the multi-layered medieval necropolis and the church edifice. A number of gravestones and large plates made out of stone were discovered. Some of them had been used for the drainage channel, and a number of the graves were left intact. Next to the bell tower, a large gravestone was uncovered with a Cyrillic inscription, but without any human remnants in the grave. In 1998, during the archaeological research excavation in the churchyard conducted by Miloje MANDIĆ and LJILJANA MANDIĆ in the archaeological probe number 1, in the western part of the churchyard next to the bell tower, they unearthed a large stone slab in use as a gravestone. On the surface, an incised inscription was discovered in 7 lines, undoubtedly an epitaph commemorating a past person. The stone slab was with the inscription is 1.83 meters long, 7 to 76 centimeters wide, and 7.65 centimeters thick. The letters are 10.7 centimeters to 16.7 centimeters high, and the depth of carving is 2 centimeters. The letter carved in the inscription tombstone resemble the Syriac majuscule written in Serbian medieval redaction. The stone is well processed, as well as the inscription epitaph with 7 regular lines with letters that are clear and tight. The epitaph can be read as, "This tombstone of Bratislava, who was executed by the Tatars in the year 6. The letters sh and e are wide, while the letters T and M are smaller than others. The letter B and G have a triangle in the upper end of horizontal line, while the letters R and U were incised in single strokes with triangular loops and sickle arches. The letter U has hooks at its upper part. The right part of the letter K is separated from its vertical line. The letter A has a vertical line creating another letter T. The letter E and S are rather shallowly incised. The last letter, which is inversed letter S in Church Slavonic alphabet, the letter Dziavo, is 16.56 centimeters higher than the rest of letters. This letter is representing the serial numeral of the year 6000 since the creation of the world. The sign for multiplication is hardly visible on the right side, and the other numerals for the rest of the year are missing. It seems the stone carver left his work unfinished. According to the latest morphology analysis, this epitaph can be dated to the period between the middle of 14th century and the middle of the 15th century. At the beginning, it starts with the damaged sign of cross, and the inscription is the Ase Kamina, a formula that was common in the territory of medieval Bosnian state from the 13th to 15th century. The border of Bosnia is nearby on the other side of the river Drina. It was a common religious formula for this period, typical of the gravestone Cyrillic inscription in Bosnia and Serbia, particularly in the period between 12th century to 15th century. The inscription bear no indication of the stonemason of craftsmen who incised it. The language seems to be traditional Serbian language with very few mistakes, which indicates that text was written by a literate person, possibly a monk, priest, or of that period. It is possible to identify the deceased person Bratišna, since it's not possible to identify the deceased person Bratišna since his remnants has been disappeared. He can be a member of the nobility or the clergy of craftsmen architects. The Tatars were semi-nomadic tribal warriors of the Eurasian steppes, speaking an idiom of Mongol languages. Byzantines preferred to call them Scythians, but also the term Tataros or Mongols were only rarely used. They were subjugated by the Mongol ruler Genghis Khan, who in 1202 invaded Eastern Europe, creating a profound impact on medieval Balkans. The term Tatar was widely used for Mongols as well, and they were known under that name in Russia, Cuman steppes, and eastern part of Europe. Their well-organized invasions had military success, and they had a political influence on the Byzantine, Bulgarian, and Serbian states and other Balkan warring factions. Some of them were mercenaries, and some of them settled in the area, mingling with the local population. Sometimes they carried out marauding excursions in the period of prevailing political and military anarchy in the Balkans. In medieval Serbian history, writers often failed to distinguish the presence of Tatars and another group of Turkic-speaking Cumans. There were some events when Tatars invaded in 1282 during the reign of the king Stefan Uroš Milutin II. In 1282, the Serbian king Stefan Milutin invaded northern Macedonia, then a part of the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Emperor Michael Paleologos VIII invited Nogai Tatars to assist his ambition. They marched under the guidance of the Grand Constable Michael Glavas to the Byzantine-Serbian frontier near Lipljan and Prizren. The Tatar cavalry, led by Karabash, tried to cross the river Drim on the horses, but but because of the fast-flowing torrent, most of them were drowned. Turkic-speaking Cuman and Tatar auxiliaries were fighting for the various ruling groups in Serbia, sometimes looting and marauding the monasteries. In 1292, the Bulgarian Tsar Shishman, vassal of Prince Nogai, invaded Serbian land with Tatar troops. From the fortress of Vidin, they invaded and plundered the countryside in Serbia. According to the Archbishop Danilo, the monastery of Saint Saviour in Užice was totally burned with the fire by the nomadic warriors speaking Jezika Kumanska. It took a long period of time to rebuild the monastery of Užice, but it was not monumental as it was before. King Milutin marched against Tsar Shishman and captured the town of Vidin, and then they come to the mutual peace terms. Probably the White Church in KARAN was in similar way devastated, because around 1342 it was completely renovated by Peter Bryan, a nobleman from the court of Tsar Dusan. Sometime between 1290 and 1300, Prince Nogai invaded Milutin Serbia, and the Serbian king offered his son Stefan Uroš III Dećanski as a hostage. After Nogai's death in 1299, the heavy pressure on the territory was relieved. In 1330, a contingent of 3,000 of Tatars, Alans, and Wallachians were marching with the Bulgarian Emperor Michael to the battle of Velbusht, now Kustendil in Bulgaria, against the Serbian army of Stefan Dećanski and his son Stefan Dusan. But Serbian army included mercenaries of German and Spanish armored cavalry. In the Bulgarian army, the Tartars were known as Black Tartars because the term Kara Black was used in Turco-Mongolian ethnic structures as a term for the Tatars. Even in one of the manuscripts of the Zakonik of Tsar Dusan, here is a similar explanation for the Tatars. In the Chinese written documents, the Black Tatars, Hei Ta Ta, were the genuine nomadic Tatar people, fearsome horse warrior. Later, in the Ottoman times, not only the Yuruk warriors, but also nomadic groups called Tatars served as auxiliary units in the Balkan Peninsula, like the Yuruks in Rumeli in the 15th and 16th centuries. The Tatars were similarly subdivided into ojaks consisting of 5 Eskinjis and 20 to 25 Yamaks. Although all groups of Tatars in Rumeli were exempted from some taxes in exchange for military services or labor, they contained various groups who were treated differently from the others. These stone monuments and this inscription is the primary evidence of disruptive incursions of the Tatars during the medieval period in Serbia. Thank you very much.